Guy touch. Hi guys, welcome back. It's me. Yo. 이티남. 이티. Sorry. Sorry. Hey. Bye. श्रीमान नरेंद्र मोदी जीちょっとさ、気学はね、bookmark correction, rectangle, rectangular, Decurium. Ducky on the crow. 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 Decurium. Ducky on the crow. Ducky on the crow. bookmark records. 야, records 자네다요. 네 아이콘 사이즈 YouTube watch list text. bookmark 바ですね。bookmark 바からここからここに、ここからどこ、そこからどこ、おこ、あははらららららだけたらなそうなんだね。なんだかかんだか。何者だ貴様。何者だ貴様。何者だ貴様。何者だ貴様。何者だ。Sorry。ごめんなさい。5万なさい。ごまんなさいませ。ごまんなさいませ。What is Yeah, such a cringe. Such a cringe. ごめんなさいませ。そうなんだ。そ そんなんだ。そんなんだ。I've done a bit. I've done a few. Bottoms, bottom, bottom, Exmeta staff engineer. Exmeta staff engineer. Interview. Projects. Before that, I would like to read some of this. Small वाला James के दो. क्या हुआ? Okay. Suitable evaluates the expression in Spenter, converts the result to the brain. Let's recall the conversion rule from chapter 5. A number 0, an empty string, now undefined, not a number, all become false because of that they are called false values. The other values become true, so they are true values. Equality values to true or false. Is that true? Is that true? True. We can also hazard the value to true in every two factors. Condition. The else clause. If else may contain option as per the else case when condition is false. Several conditional else. Sometimes we'd like to test several variants of a condition as if I associated with that. In the code above, if that is false, it goes to the next condition. Conditional operator. Conditional is sometimes we need to assign a variable depending on a condition. What is that? That's not it. True. A conditional operator, for instance, age, prompt, 18. So what? The so-called conditional question mark operator lets us do that in a shorter and simpler way. A conditional operator. The operator is represented by the question mark. Represented by a question mark, sometimes it's called ternary because the operator has three operands. Ternary unary, binary, ternary. It is actually the one and only operator in JavaScript which has that many. Only one and only operator in JavaScript which has that many operands. The condition is evaluated of x true, the value is returned whatever is returned, otherwise value true. True, false. Technically, we can apply the parentheses. The question mark operator has a loop precedence, so it executes after this. This example will do the same thing as the previous one, but parentheses makes more readable command using them. In the example, you can avoid using the question mark operator because the comparison itself returns. It returns true and false itself. You don't never multiple. A sequence of question mark operator can return a value that depends on more than one condition. Hey, buddy. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. It may be difficult at first to grasp what's going on, but after a little closer look, we can see that it is just an ordinary sequence test. First question is if true, it returns hi baby. Otherwise, it continues to the expression after the colon. Check is that if that's true, it returns hello. Otherwise, it to new expression. However, non-traditional use of question mark. Conditional operator. Sometimes the question mark is used as a replacement for you. Depending on the condition, either the first or the second expression after the question mark gets executed and shows an alert. It is not recommended to use the question mark operator in this way. And the notation is shorter than equivalent with statement, which appeals to some programmers, but it is really fast readable. Organized scan through vertically. Code blocks which span several lines are easier to understand and allow horizontal instruction. Bada boom, bada boom. Ba-ba-da, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba. The logical operators or cover the first three. The question is the next article logical or is represents with two vertical lines. In classical programming, the logical OR is meant to manipulate Boolean values only if and of its arguments are true. It returns any of its. It returns true, otherwise it returns false. In JavaScript, the operator is a little bit trickier and more powerful, but first let's see what happens with the Boolean values. True, true, false, true, true, false, 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 false. As we can see, the result also is always true except for the case when both the variables are false. If an operand is not Boolean, it's converted to a Boolean for evaluation. 1 is treated as true and 0 is treated as true, false. That works. Most of the time OR is used in an if statement to test if any of the given condition is true. We can pass more conditions. Or finds the first true value. The logic described above is somewhat classical. Now let's bring in an extra feature of JavaScript. The extended algorithm works as follows. Given multiple or adds values, value 1, value 2, value 3. The OR operator does the following. It evaluates the operands from left to right. For each operand, converts it to a Boolean. If the result is true, stops and returns the original value of the operand. If all operands have been evaluated or false, it returns the last operand. A value is returned in its original form without further conversion. In other words, a chain or OR returns the first true value or the last one if no true value found. 1 0 1 1 is returned. Null 1 1 1 is returned. Null 0 1 1 1 is returned. Undefined null 0 0 is returned. All false returns the last value. This leads to some interesting uses compared to a pure classical boolean only OR. Getting the first true value from a list of variables or expressions. For instance, we have first name, last name, nickname variables or optional can be undefined or have false values. Let us use this. Let us use OR to choose one that has the data and show it or anonymous if nothing said. First is empty, last is empty. That's falsy. That's a true value. Nickname is going to be a supercoder. And if nickname was also an empty string, then we would have got anonymous as a result. If all variables were false, falsy, anonymous would show up. Short circuit evaluation. Another feature of OR operator is called short circuit evaluation. It means that OR processes its arguments until the first true value is reached, and then the value is returned immediately without even touching the other argument. And then the value is returned immediately without even touching the other argument. The importance of this feature becomes obvious if an operator isn't just a value but an expression with a side effect such as variable assignment of The importance of this feature becomes obvious if an operand isn't just a value but an expression with a side effect such as a variable assignment or a function. In example below, only the second message is printed. True. Alert not printed. Falsy. The importance of this feature becomes obvious if an operand isn't just a value, but an expression with a side effect, such as a variable assignment of the function call. In the first line, the OR operator stops the evaluation immediately upon seeing true, so alert isn't run. Alert isn't run. Okay, sorry. Alert isn't ran, motherfucker. Sorry. And the AND operator is represented with 2 ampersands. In classical Parmanu Vigyan programming, AND returns true if both operands are true and false. Otherwise, an example if that's true, false, 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 false. True is true, and false, true, false, 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 false. Let 12-hour returns in the is it the yeah, of course it's gonna print that shit. Just as with OR, any value is alive as an operand of and any value is allowed. Okay, that's true, that's false. Evaluate it as true and false, so nothing happens. Bada boom, and finds the first false value given multiple ends. Reserves values 1, 2, value 1, value 2, value 3, and at the AND operator of the following. Evaluates operands from left to right. For each operand converts it to a boolean. If the result is false, it stops and returns the original value of the operand. Stops and returns the original value of that operand. If all operands have been evaluated, all were true, the returns the last operand. If all operands have been evaluated all truly. Okay, sorry. The rule above are similar to the references is that the AND returns the first falsy value otherwise, while OR returns the first true value. 1 0, that's true, that's false, falsy value we're gonna get if the first operand is falsy and the returns it. Okay, sorry, null is gonna return null, and 0 0 0 is false, so it's gonna return 0. We can also pass our value to above. See how the first policy one is returned. One is true, second is true, null is going to be when all values are true, the last one is returned. All is true, the precedence of AND is higher than OR. The precedence of AND operator is higher than OR. So the code like this, it's going to like evaluate like this, okay, is essentially the same as AND expression with warrant parenthesis. Don't replace if with this or that, okay, or and. Sometimes people use and or operator shorter way to write it. For instance, X, bada boom. This action is the action in the right part of and. The and would execute only if the evaluation reaches it. So like 1. That's true. True, the first policy value is going to be that. That's if only. That's true. And that is true. So basically we have an analog for X, bada boom. Although the variant with n appears shorter if it's more obvious and tends to be a little bit more readable. So we recommend using construct, every construct for its purpose. Use if we want to, if we want if and use and if we want and. Now the Boolean operator is represented with the exclamation sign. The syntax is pretty simple. The operator accepts a single argument and does the following: converts the operand to a Boolean and type true false. Converts the operand to a Boolean type true false. Returns the inverse. Bada boom. That was true becomes false becomes true. Not double. A double not is sometimes used for converting a value to Boolean. Converting it, that's a 2. That is true. Nande. A double not is used sometimes to convert a value to Boolean type. So you can do like that too. You can use the Boolean as well, but function, but if you're lazy, you can just put 2 exclamation marks. That'll eventually convert that string or whatever data type you have to Boolean type. That is the first node converts the value to Boolean and returns the inverse. That is the first. That is the first not. First not converts the value to a Boolean, returns the inverse, and the second not inverses it again. In the end, we have a plain value to Boolean conversion. There's a little more obvious way to do something like that. Same thing. A built in Boolean function. We can use a Boolean function. The precedence of not exclamation not, okay, is the highest of all logical operators, so it always executes first. I don't look at that. Too intelligent for that. Bada boom. Sekai nullish collation operator. Coalescing. The nullish coalescing operator is written as a 2 question marks. Anyway. The nullish coalescing operator is written as 2 marks, question marks. As it treats null and undefined similarly, we'll use a special term in this critical for abbreviative. We'll say that a value is defined when it's neither null or not undefined. we'll see that a value is defined when it's neither null nor undefined. The result of A nullish B is if A is defined, then A. If A isn't defined, then B. Just like the OR operator, but more cool. Yeah, we'll see that a value is defined when it's neither null or not. In other words, nullish returns the first argument if it's not null and undefined. If it's not null and undefined, otherwise the second one. The nullish co-leafing operator isn't another incomplete anyway, it's just a new syntax to get the first defined value of the two. We can write bada boom bada bomb using the operators that we already know, like this. Okay, as total fam, A if it's not equal to null and A is not equal to undefined. If that is true, then we get the A, and if not, then it's B. Now A should be completely clear what nullish does. Let's see where it helps. The common use case of nullish is to provide a default value. For example, here we show user if it evaluates if its value isn't null, otherwise anonymous. If its value undefined or no, anonymous user is undefined. Anonymous, the user is undefined, undefined. We have not defined it, so we assign it a default value. Not assign, but yeah, here's an example user assigned to a name. Sorry, John is John Khan. Okay, we can also use a sequence of nullish to select the first value from a list that is null or undefined. Let's say we have a user data in a variable. In variables, first name, last name, or nickname, all of them may be not defined if the user decided not to fill the corresponding values. Let's say we have a user's data in variables, first name, last name, nickname, all of them may be not defined. Maybe not defined, maybe no. If the user decided not to fill in the corresponding values, we'd like to display the user name using one of these variables or show anonymous if all of them are null undefined. Let's use the nullish operator for that. First name is null, second is null, nickname is supercoder. It's going to be supercoder. Comparison will. The OR operator can be used the same way as bada boom, as it was recited from the previous chapter. Okay, it can be used like that, but historically, the OR operator was there first. It's been there since the beginning of the JavaScript, so developers were using it for certain purposes for a long time. On the other hand, the nullish co-leafing operator was added to JavaScript only recently. The reason for that was that people weren't happy with presents the first true the value and returns the first. Like null and undefined, they're falsy values. In other words, OR doesn't distinguish between false, zero, and empty string, and null, undefined. They all, like if it was false, zero, and empty string, that also or sees them as false values. So yeah, they are also all the same falsy values. Okay, if any of these is the first argument of R, then we'll get the second argument as the result. We're gonna get the second argument as the result. In practice though, we're gonna get the second argument of the in practice though, we may want to use default values only when the variable is null undefined. That is when the values are really unknown, not settled. Example, consider 0 is height. Height is 0. but height cannot be 0, but it's 0. It could be in inches, but it's 0, okay? Here, that's an example, so it's fine, but this height is 100. Like, nah, that doesn't make sense. Height is 0, 0, 0, 0 here. High 0 checks the height for being a false value, and it's a 0. Falsy indeed, so the result of R is the second argument on that, and checks if the if null or undefined. It's not null or undefined, so for that reason, the result is height of the result is height as is that else of the practice. In practice, the 0 height is often a valid value that shouldn't be replaced with the default. So, Nourish does just the right thing. Precedence. Bada boom, bada boom. Precedence. The precedence of precedence of a nullish operator is the same as are they both equal to 3 in the empty and T word. That means that just like the nullish that are coalescing operators as operator is evaluated before equal, which you call that assignment or question mark conditional or ternary operator, but after most other operations such as so we may they're both equal to 3, so we may need to add parentheses and expressions like that. Okay, you get that. Other operators such as like that, you should get that. Okay, sorry. Like coalescing operator, it's going to be 915 5,000 rupee. Otherwise, if we omit parentheses, then as we have the higher precedence and like star multiplication has the higher precedence. Coalescing it would execute first, leading to incorrect results, and that we do not want. It works this way, not what we want. It's gonna like multiply like that, and multiplication is not good. Multiplication is not good in this way. It is person. Example using coalescing with and or due to safety reasons. JavaScript perfect using forbids using nullish together with and or unless the precedence is explicitly specified with parentheses. The code below triggers and syntax error. Syntax error. Sorry. Iran. You can go to Iran, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Oman, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Hindustan. Due to the safety reason, JavaScript for pairs using nullish together with and or operators unless the precedence is explicitly specified with parentheses like that. Okay, yeah, that is not allowed, baby. That ain't allowed, baby. Like first true the values like that, but here the precedence, what you call that? Precedence of both the operators are same 3. The limitation is surely debatable. It was added to the language specification with the purpose to avoid programming mistakes when the people start to switch from use explicit parentheses to work around dictionary. Okay, that is going to be what's going to be. It's gonna look for the first false value, which is we do not have that, but so for that reason we'll take 2 and 2 and then so it's not undefined. 2 is defined, so 2 is we're gonna get 2. Okay, works. There's somebody new. That is coalescing operator. What's a coalescing? Hindi, give me Hindi. Coalesce together, come together to form one larger group substance. Coalesce, mingle like a jingle. Okay, sorry. The analytic coalescing operator provides a short way to choose the first defined values for a list. It's used to assign default values to a variable. Set height. Height is 100. If the height is not defined. Is height undefined? The operator. Knowledge has a very low precedence, only a bit higher than question mark. What you call that? A ternary operator and the assignment. Is it assignment operator? Yeah. So consider adding parentheses when using it in an expression. It's permitted to use or and without explicit parentheses. I'm sorry. कदलियां बह गया इश्क इबादत बन गया. पता क्या पढ़ रहा हूँ मैं? अरे क्या है? अरे क्या गोबर पढ़ रहा हूँ मैं. Let's take a break. Let's take my break. I can take a break whenever I want, but it's about. Arigatou gozaimasu. Holjutsu. Mensetsu totaki arigatou gozaimasu. Makoto ni. Makoto ni arigatou gozaimasu. I wish there was a way to. I wish there was a way to. Okay, sorry. Where's it on? Punjab Mobiles. Oh, Punjab da munda. Oh, Punjab da munda. Oh, Punjab da munda. Punjab Mobiles. Oh, Punjab da munda. क्या है कौन है? ओ पंजाब दा मुंडा. Sorry. Oh, it's my takiya kalam. Catchphrase. Takiya kalamande. Yeah. Narinig Osang. 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 貴様大丈夫かI'm tired. आगे यहाँ देखो bodyguards. đi mà đi, du mà đi, ba mà đi, ta mà đi. Sao? Trời. बॉडी हार्ट तेरी बॉडी में कौन सा गाना है पता नहीं पता नहीं ये इतना क्यों चल रहा है कुछ तो कर पर है कुछ तो वहाँ बड़ी कर पर है हो सकता है ना मुझे पता नहीं है यार एक दिख रहा है मेरा Yep. Yeah, it's fine, man. Uh, it's hot. It's raining hard. Nap, 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 nap.貴様、誰だ？誰だ貴様？ Oh, oh, oh. A man should never stop dreaming. Never, never. Yeah.よろしくお願いいたします。林の中へこれはローズボーツしぼし It's unthinkable. It's all just a dream. It's all just a dream. You remember. It's all just a dream. It's all just a dream. Just a dream. It's all just a dream. Coolies. Form. Go left. To come together to form a larger group. Coalescing. Loops while and for. We often need to repeat action for example, after doing root for a list after another, or just running the same code for each number from 1 to 10. Loops are a way to repeat the same code multiple times. Okay, the article covers basic loops, while do while and while for. If you came to this article searching for other loops, here are the pointers. For and to loop over object properties. For in object in array of object in array of. For into loop over objects properties and object of and iterables for looping over arrays and iterable objects, otherwise please be done. While loop conditions are all of syntax condition code, so-called loop body. When the condition is true, the code from the loop body executes. For example, the loop condition is true, the code from the loop body is executed. For instance, the loop becomes below outputs I while I is smaller than 3. 0, 1, 2, 1, 2. Single execution of the loop body is called an iteration. The loop in the example above makes 3 iterations of the I++ missing from the example. The loop would repeat in theory forever. In practice, the browser provides a ways to resolve such loops, and in server side of your JavaScript, we can kill the process. Any expression or variable can be a loop condition, not just comparison. The condition is evaluated and converted to a boolean or while. Any expression or variable can be a loop condition. For instance, a shorter way to write I not equal to 0. Like I not, okay, 0 is I. So when I becomes 0, the condition becomes false. until I is not equal to zero, the condition. What the? Yeah, curly braces are not required for a single line body. If the loop body has a simple statement, we can number the curly braces. Do the condition check and remove the loop body using the do while syntax. The loop will first execute the body, then check the condition, and while it's true, execute it again and again. Let I is that. We do that. Update the condition and then update the condition. No, it's not. It's what do you call that? The last one. Whatever. Okay, you call it whatever. This form of syntax should only be used when you want the body of the loop execute at once, regardless of the condition being true. Usually the other form is preferred. The for loop is more complex, but it's also the most useful loop. Begin, condition, stop. Let's learn the meaning of these parts. By example, the loop below runs alert I for from 0 up to but not including 3. Yeah, let's examine the for statement part by part. Begin, let I0 execute once upon entering the loop. Condition check before every loop iteration of false. The loop stop runs again and again. That is okay. Body again and again while the condition is truly executes. After the body on each iteration, the general loop works like that. Run begin if condition runs the body and run a step. Okay. That is begin executes. Once and then it iterates after each condition test. Body and steps are executed if we are new to loop. I'm not new to loop. Inline variables, declarations, here the condition variable. Okay, oh yeah. The counter variable I is declared right in the loop. This is called an inline variable declaration. Such variables are visible only inside the loop. Bada boom, like that, okay? Let I0, boom. Instead of defining a variable, we could use an existing one, either skipping parts. Any part of 4 can be skipped. For example, we can open begin. If we do not, we can omit begin if we don't need to do anything at the loop start, like no need for begin. Okay, 0 0 okay, don't need to do anything. Yeah, we can also remove the step. Bada boom. Okay. This makes the loop identical to I, and like it's creating an infinite loop. You can actually remove everything. Okay, that's creating an infinite loop. Please note that the 2 4 semicolons must be present, otherwise there would be a syntax error. Clicking the loop. Normally a loop exits when its condition becomes falsy, but we can force the exit at any time using the special break. For example, the loop below asks the user for a series of numbers breaking when no number is entered. If not a value, it's gonna break the loop. Bam! The break. Okay. Bada boom. Sum is 0. If entered. Focus. 4 4 4 5 5 5 5 3 2 1 1 1. Okay. That was a calculator. Was that a calculator? Yeah, it was a calculator. The break directive is activated at line star. Where is the star? Okay. If the user enters an empty line or cancels the input, it stops the loop immediately, passing control to the first line. after the loop, name the other loop. The combination infinite loop break as needed is great for situations where a loop's condition must be checked not in the beginning or end of the loop, but in the middle or even in several places of its body. It's a body. Okay. Break as needed, like the combination infinite loop plus break as needed is great for situations where a loop's condition must be checked not in the beginning or and of the loop, but in the middle of or even in several pieces of its body. Continue to the next iteration. The continue directive is a lighter version of break. It doesn't stop the whole loop, instead it stops the current iteration and forces the loop to start a new one. If the condition allows, we can use it if we are done with the current iteration and would like to move on to the next one. The loop below uses continue to output only odd values. Okay, that's a remainder 2 Bantu. If the remainder is 0, then Bantu. Okay, it's gonna boom. Bada boom. 2 is skipped. Okay, alert 0. For even values, fine. What? For even values, if I like, yeah, even values. Is it even values? Ha! Even values. Stupid. For even values, if I the continue directive stops executing the body, and passes control to the next iteration of. If it's that, then continue with the next number. So the alert is only called for all odd values. The continue directive helps decrease nesting. A loop that shows odd values could look like this. Yeah, it could look like that. A continue directive has decreased nesting. Loop that shows odd values could look like that. Bam bam bara ba. From a technical view of point, this is identical to the example above. Shortly, we can just wrap the code in an if block instead of using continue, but as a side effect, this created one more level of nesting. The other call inside the curly braces of the code inside of if is longer than a few lines. That may decrease overall readability. Sorry. Sorry. Labels, like labels is the fun thing. Fun thing. No, break continue the right side of what you call that? Nullish? No, it's not nullish. Pop. Fluff, it's a ternary. Okay. Conditional operator, ternary operator. Please note that the syntax constructs that are not expressions cannot be used with the ternary operator. In particular, directive such as break continue aren't allowed there. Is not allowed there. Continue isn't allowed here. Please note that syntax constructs that are not expressions. Syntax constructs that are not expressions cannot be used with the ternary operator. In particular, directives such as break continue aren't allowed there. I think I have done this kind of thing, a bit kind of stupidity sometime. If boom 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 baram boom. Okay, if we take this code like this and rewrite it using a question mark, ternary operator, it stops working. There is a syntax error. This is just another reason not to use the question mark operator instead of that. I think you shouldn't use this, bitch. Yeah. Stop using it. It's stupid. You can use it. Don't overuse it. Labels for break continue. Sometimes we need to break out of multiple nested loops at once. For example, in the code below, we loop over I and j counting work alternates. ij from 0, 0 to 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Dash prompt values of course. Karabam barabam. Okay. Do I have to do something? Pa 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 ra pa la la ba ba ba. Why did you want me to input? You were asking for this, one or two. What the fuck is that? Hut! नहीं कुछ भी बना दो वाला. What if we want to exit from here? Wow, values और cards. तब. Okay, चलो हटा रहे हैं इसको. अरे हटाने इसको. हट रहे हैं क्या है? We need a way to stop the process of the user cancel the input. The ordinary break after input would only break the inner loop. Okay, that would only break the inner loop. That's not sufficient. Labels come to rescue. A label is an identifier with a column before the loop. That's a label name, okay? We label it like that and we label it. Okay, break outer. We can break the outer. Outer layer. The break label means statement in the loop breaks out of the loop. Bada boom, bam boom. Okay. If I jump them, sorry. What the fuck is that? And if it's that, then you're done. Done, boy. You're done. If I cancel that, and the code above breaks outer. If it's not input, if it's cancel, if it's not input, okay, no input, then it break. It's gonna break the whole nested loop. Multiple nested loops, okay? In the code loop, break outer looks supports by the label name outer and breaks out of the loop, so the control goes straight from here to here. No, here. We are out of this loop, okay? All the share. We can also move the labels onto a separate line. That is also fine. The continue directive can also be used with a label. When the chaos code execution jumps to the next iteration of the label loop, sorry. Label do not allow us to jump into arbitrary place in the code. For example, it is impossible to do this. Break label, jump to the label below. Doesn't work. It ain't gonna work, man. Label. Okay, break directive must be inside a code block. Typically, any label code will do this. Although 99.9% of the time break is used inside loops, as we have seen in the examples above, a continue is also possible from inside a loop. Ha! We covered 3 tabs. The condition is checked before the iteration each. Condition checked after the iteration 1 each. After each iteration. The condition is checked before each iteration. Additional settings available to make an infinite loop usually while constructors use such a loop just like any other can be stopped with a break directive. If we don't want to do anything in the current iteration, would like to forward to the next one, we can use the continue directive. Break and continue support labels before the loop. A label is only way for break continue to escape a nested loop. To escape a nested loop, to go to an item. What if it was continue? If it was continue, I'm gonna go in here. I could just continue. Break, I'm gonna skip that. I'll just do it, okay? Ah, mama! Okay. Sham tam ping tam tong cheng tam 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 tam. Sham say, sham say, sham say, sham say, sham say. How do you start it again? How can you start it again? Control and enter. What? Sorry. It doesn't work though. 1, 2, and 2, 2. Oh, not good though. I don't like it. Label we jump, jump. We play jumping, jumping. Jumping, japak, jump, jump, jump. Jumping, japak, jump, jump, jump. Jumping, japak, jump, jump. Sorry. That's share this from here. Factor here. Polymorphism. Polyphers. Ninja code. Wow, ninja code. What's a ninja code? What's a ninja code? Reusable memes. Underscore for memes. This may be one of the big model of the ninja coder like me reads this article. The only way comes from a solution. What an idea we use this how the next miscellaneous. Okay. Use them even better. One programming inside this. What the heck? The what? What is that? Overlap after the ninja code. Learning without thought is a link to lost. Thought without learning is perilous. What's a perilous? खतरनाक perilous खतरनाक चीज है भाई ये भाई इसको तो मैं अभी खत्म कर दूंगा और ज़्यादा नहीं है क्या 2 मिनट लगेंगे मेरे को 2 मिनट लगते हैं भाई switch statement can replace multiple if checks if it gives a directive if it gives a directive can I have a what's wrong with my ass suddenly it starts aching why you get kind of seizures I need to become a horse. I'm a hare. I'm a horse of the race. Nothing can distract me. Yeah, I'm a horse. The syntax switch has one or more keys blocks and an optional default. It looks like this. Bada boom, bada boom. Sorry. The value of access checked for a strict equality. Okay. So the value from the last case, from the first case, that is value 1, that the second value and so on of the equality is found, which starts to, that's a strict equality. Starting from corresponding case until the nearest break or until the end of the switch. If no case is matched, then the default code is executed. A4, no, exactly. Sorry. Here the switch starts to compare A from the first case variant, that is 3, the match fails. Then 4, that's a match, or the execution starts from 4 until the nearest break. That's the break. If we skip that, it's gonna if there is no break, then the execution continues with the next case without the checks. Exactly, too big. I don't know such values and expression can be. Switch case argument. Both switch and keys allow arbitrary expressions. +1. You know what happens with that? Nothing. That actually ain't that gonna turn that into a 1? That's a 1, okay? A becomes 1. Like that 1. B is 0, so 1. Here plus A gives 1, that's compared to B plus 1 in the search case, and corresponding code is executed. Grouping of keys, several variants of keys which share the same code can be grouped. For example, if you want the same code to run for case 3 and case 5. Yeah. Wrong. Why don't you take the math class? Wow. Now I need to take a math class? Now both 3 and 5 shows the same message. The ability to group cases in such a side effect of how switch and case. Switch case works without break, and yes, the execution of case 3 starts from the line star and goes through the case 5 because there are no breaks. Type matters. Let's emphasize that the equality check is always strict, though values must be of the same type to match. Enter a value, we're gonna enter a value, okay? If we enter 0, then we get it, okay? But if we enter this, and non-values the enter, not allowed, okay? Type. Actually, prompt gives a string, so it's fine. But here, yeah. Now what's happening here? Case 3. Okay, like, 3 doesn't work. The prompt gives a string. Oh, it's done for 0, 1, the first utterance is set 2, the second utterance. For 3, the result of prompt is a string, which is not strictly equal to the number 3, so we have got a dead code. Detto code functions. दोनों में दर्द हो रहा है. Oh, that's a big one. Quite often we need to perform a similar action in some. Actually, I like to use arrow functions. I like these functions. Quite often we need to perform a similar action in many places. Like say, for example, we need to show a nice looking message when a visitor logs in, logs out, and maybe whereas functions are the main building blocks of the program. They allow the code to be called many times without repetition. We've already seen examples of built-in functions like alert, message, prompt, message default, and confirm questions. But we can create functions or offer our own as well function declarations. To create a function, we can use a function declaration like that. A function shows and stuff like that. Okay. The function keyword goes first, goes the name of the function, then a list of parameters between the parentheses, commas operated, and in the example above we'll see examples in the, and finally the code of the function. Also name the function body between curly braces like that. Okay, between curly braces. Okay, here between curly braces is here. Okay, but between curly braces is here. Our new function shall be called by its name like that. We call it and like that. Okay, sorry, hello 2 times. Hello everybody. Hello everybody. That's everyone, but everybody. Example clearly demonstrates one of the main purposes of functions to avoid code duplication if we ever need to change the message or the though where it is shown, it's enough to modify the code in one place, and the function which it outputs local variables. A variable declared inside the function is only visible inside that function. It's only visible inside that function only. You get that? That's a local variable. It is not, you can do like that if you can get that, but if they try to do that, not available after that variables, but you get a message with not defined reference error. After variable, function can access outer variable as well. For example, a function that's a global variable. Okay? That message username. What do you mean by that? A function can access an outer variable as well. I know that. The function has full access to the outer variable. It can modify it as well. We can modify it as well. Oh, it can be used like that. Okay. User Bob. Bob is my Bobby. Okay. Message. Hello. User. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Functions show Bob choose the outer variable. So what? What should I do about it? I don't care. The outer variable is only used if there is no local one. If same name variable is declared inside the function, then it shadows the outer one. But instead in the code below the function uses the local username. The outer one is ignored. It's gonna ignore that and it's gonna use its own username which we have defined over here. Redefine it's no, we are not redefining it and redeclaring it now. We are giving it the all function its own username. That's a global one. That's a functional. Variables declared outside of any function, such as the outer username and the code above are called globals. Global variables are visible for any function unless shadowed by locals. It was shadowed there. It's a good practice to minimize the use of global variables. Modern code has fewer or no globals, both variables inside of other functions. Sometimes, though, they can be useful to store project level data. Yeah, I've done that. Parameters, we can pass arbitrary data to the functions using parameters. In the example below, the function has 2 parameters from next to text. From text, blah, 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 text, okay? And hello. What's up? When the function is called inline star double star double star. What you call this? It's a like square. Let's just show one. Type conversion. Type conversion कर दूंगा जरा. What you call that? Should be here, right? Yeah, exponential. Boom, boom. Okay, to the power 2. To the power something. Some to the power some. Something to the power something. Something is something's power. Exponential. Exponential. Shut up. A value is passed. Okay, here's one. Okay, when the function is in the function is called in lines star and double star. The given values are copied to the local variables from local variables. They are okay. Function uses them. Given values are copied to local variables. Here's one more example. We have a variable from and pass it to a v. Pass it to the function. Please note the function changes from, but a change is not seen outside because the function always gets a copy of the value. Function always gets. We are only getting a copy of the value. That's here. An is an. What a bam. And we get the an. We get the nan. But an is an. Hello. From hello. Get that, okay? The value from is the same. The function modified a local copy. We get a copy of this thing. Here's one more example. We have a variable and pass it the function. Please note the function changes from, but change is not seen out because a function always gets a copy of the value. When a value is passed as a function parameter, it's also called a argument. Function parameter. When a value is passed as function parameter, it's called an argument. In other words, to put these terms straight. Parameter is the variable listed inside the parentheses. Parameter, okay, listed inside the function declaration. It's a declaration term. Declaration time term parameter, and argument is the value that is passed to the function where it's called. It's a call time. It's Mobian time. Where we declare function listing their parameters, then call, then passing arguments. An example above, one might say the function show message declared with 2 parameters, then called with 2 arguments from an if a function is called by an examiner provided when the corresponding value becomes undefined. Yeah, for instance, the aforementioned function show from text can be called like this. Can be called with a single argument. Any. That's not an error. Such a call word any undefined and undefined a value. A value as the value for text isn't passed, it becomes undefined. We can specify the so-called default to use if omitted values. Value of a parameter. Yeah, that is so you. This is so you to learn. Okay, now if the text parameter is not passed it will get the value. No text given. The default value also jumps it if the parameter exists, but strictly equals undefined, like yeah, undefined. No text given. Page. You can take my drink. Sorry. Okay, here no text given is a string, but it can be more complex expressions. Expression like a expression like a execution, like a call to a function, which only evaluated and assigned in the another function. Assign more than just a dream, which is only evaluated and assigned if the parameter is missing. So this is also possible. Evaluation of default parameters in JavaScript. The default parameter is evaluated every time the function is called without the respective parameters. In example, above call or a guy. यहाँ से पढ़ना पड़ता है यहाँ. JavaScript default parameter is evaluated every time the function is called without the respective parameter. It isn't called at all if the text parameter is provided. On the other hand, it's independently called every time when the text is missing. Several years ago, JavaScript didn't support the syntax for default parameters, so people used other ways to specify that. Nowadays we can come across them also. For example, and explicitly check for if text is undefined, the text is going to be that. Okay, yeah, instead of that we can just do that, or using the or operator function show that. More than just a dream. इस बोतल की तरह पुरानी जिंदगी में इस बोतल में कैद मेरा कैद है इस समय. Not a just a dream. Ah, 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 ah. छोड़ दिया रे छोड़ा मैं फोन छोड़ना मैं ज्यादा बोला more than just a dream it's more than just a dream can I live you my day okay, so default parameters cool. Nowadays we can come across them in old script. For example, it's quickly undefined. Okay, text is undefined. Let me give that. Okay, I'm using the or operator. Okay, the text. If text is not defined, I mean, you know, if it's a false value, then we give that. Alternative default parameters. What you mean by alternative? So talk about sometimes it makes sense to assign default values for parameters at the data street after the function declaration. Sometimes it makes sense to assign default values for parameters at a later stage after the function declaration. We can check if the parameter is passed during the function execution by comparing it with undefined. Text is empty. We can check if the parameter is passed during the function execution. During the function execution. Sometimes makes sense to assign default values for parameters at a later stage after the function declaration. Sorry. Or we could use the or operator function declaration like that. Function declaration text is like that. Okay, empty. Modern JavaScript engines support the nullish co-leafing operator. It's better when most false values such as 0 should be considered normal. Alternate is like that. Okay, function. So if it's not null and not undefined. Now if it is, then this, and if not, then whatever that is. 0 null. Null is going to be unknown and empty is unknown, undefined here. Null and undefined here, and 0 0. Returning a value. A function can return a value back into the calling code as a result. A function can return a value back into the calling code as a result. The simplest example would be a function that runs the sum of 2. That sums two values. A plus b result 1 2 3 4. The directive return can be in any place of the function. When the execution reaches it, the function stops. The value is returned to the calling code assigned to the result. There may be many occurrences of returning a single function, for instance, like that. Okay, if statement it is possible to use run without a value that causes the function to execute immediately. Yeah. What's happening here? Yeah. For example, like that show movie age. No, you cannot see the movie. Showing you the movie art. In the code about the age returns false, the show movie won't proceed to the alert. Okay. Checking age true, granted, no denied. A function with an empty return or without it returns are defined. Like if it's an empty return undefined or without a return it returns undefined. If a function does not return a value, it is seen as if it returns undefined. Bada bum undefined. No, not undefined. Alert. Oh yeah, like it returns undefined, then we are doing that. Let's start comparison. Strict comparison. And empty return is also the same as return undefined. Yeah, money. Never add a new line between a return and the value for a longer expression in. It might be tempting to put it on a separate line. Okay, but no, not good. That doesn't work. That doesn't work because JavaScript assumes a semicolon after return. Yeah, that means this. You do that, you are boom. So it effectively becomes an empty. You can do like that. If you want to return the expression to wrap across multiple lines, we should start it at the same line as return, or at least put the opening parenthesis bara like that. Okay, bara. And it still works. Naming a function. Functions are actions, so their name is usually a verb. It should be brief, as accurate as possible, and describe what a function does, so that someone reading the code gets an indication of what the function does. Yeah, it is widespread practice to start a function with a verb or prefix which vaguely describes the action. Verb or prefix which vaguely, yeah, it is widespread the practice to start a function with a verb or prefix which vaguely describes the action. There must be an agreement with the team on the meaning of the prefix. For instance, functions that start with show usually shows something. Function starts with get, returns a value, calculate something, create calcium something, create something, check something, and return a boolean. Example of such names: show message, get to edge, calculate the sum, create the form, check automation. Okay, sorry. With prefix in place, a glance at a function. With prefix in place, a glance at a function name gives an understanding what kind of work it does and what kind of values it returns. Verbal prefix. One function, one action. A function should do exactly what is suggested by its name and no more. Two independent actions usually just have two functions, even if they are usually called together. In that case, we can make a third function that calls to those two. Okay, a few examples of breaking this rule. Getting age would be bad if it shows alert with the age should only get. Yeah, would be bad if it shows an alert with the age it should only get. Create form would be bad if it modifies the documents, adding a form to it should only create and return it. Check permissions would be bad if it displays the access denied granted. Message should only perform the check and return the result. These examples assume common meanings of prefix. You and your team are free to agree on these. Believe me, I don't have a team. I will soon enough, but usually they are not much different. In any case, you should have a firm understanding of what a prefix means, what a prefix function can and cannot do. All same prefix functions should obey the rules, and their team should share the knowledge. Same prefix functions should obey the rules. Are you fuck? What a prefix function can, it cannot do. You cannot do anything. Ultra short function naming. Ultra short, you know that? Functions that are used very often sometimes are ultra short names. For example, the jQuery framework defines a function with $, the lodash library has its own core function named. These are exceptions. So general functions name should be concise and descriptive. Discapitalate. Function boom comments. Well, a function should be short and do exactly one to give it. If that thing is big, maybe it's worth to split the function into a few smaller functions. Sometimes following this rule may not be that easy, but it's definitely a good thing. But it's definitely a good thing. A separate function is not only easier to test and debug, it's very existing is a great comment. A separate function. Functions are comments, okay? Sorry. A separate function is not only easier to test, debug, its very existence is great comment. For instance, compare the two functions. Show prime number below. Primes each will out. I push prime number subtract. What's a prime number? What is a prime number? You see that? Next prime, okay? For let the first, okay, 2. It starts with 2. To 4 like congested. If I 2's remainder, this next prime. Ha! I is a prime. I always forget what's a prime number. Prime. Number. That's a shit, man. I'm a math major, but I forget what's a prime. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 12. Oh, I get it. A prime number is a whole number greater than 1 that has exactly 2 factors. 1 and itself. Okay. It can be divided by 1 and itself 1. This means it cannot be formed by multiplying 2 smaller whole numbers. For example, 7 is a prime number because its only factors are 1 and 7. They are factors. However, 6 is not a prime number because it can be divided by evenly by 2, 3, 6. No. Okay, that's a no. Next prime, for example, that okay, starts with 2. Who everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Yeah. 1 is 1, okay. 1 is not a prime number though. 1 is not a prime number. Yeah, it's not, because you cannot divide 1 by anything else. You should have two divisions, factors. I mean, 1 is 1, second one is itself, the number. But for 1, it's only 1. That is itself, but only 1. Next prime for I like that, okay? If I and 2, if the remainder 2 by 2 divided by 2 remainder is 0, then we continue that, okay? We're gonna skip it. What do you say? What are you saying? What are you saying? Alert I. If I that's 2 and that is also 2. The remainder is 0. Of course it's a 0. Then we continue to we skip it. That means 2 is not no. 2 is no. Of course we're gonna print the 2. A 2 is not a prime? Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, we divide 2 by 2, 1, 3. What about 3? 3, like that's 2. Ah, fuck, I don't want to do that, man. The second variant uses additional prime is and to test the, yeah, for that, okay? If it's not, like, that's good, we can use that. Is it a prime? Is it a prime? A little bit around. Show primes. We are going to only show the prime numbers. Is not a prime. Is a prime. If it's not a prime, then we're going to continue it. If it's a prime, then we're going to show it. Okay, we see that like that. That's a better mean that is better than false. Wait, it returns false. If it's going to return false, it's going to become true. False is true. True becomes speak. The second variant is easier to understand, isn't it? Instead of the code, please see a name of the action as prime. Sometimes people refer to the search code as satisfying. So functions can be created even if we don't intend to reuse them. They structure the code and make it readable. The function declaration looks like this. Parameters, delimiters by comma. What? Delimited by comma. What? Eh? Okay. Values passed to a function as parameters are copied to local variables. Function may access outer variables, but it works only from inside out. A function may access outer variables, but it only works only from inside out. The code outside of the function doesn't see its local variable. A function may access outer variables, but it only works inside out. The code outside of the function doesn't see its local variables. Okay, a function can return a value. If it doesn't, then its result is identified. To make the code clean and easy to understand, it is recommended to use mainly local variables and parameters in the function, not outer variables. Yeah, recommended to use mainly local variables and parameters in the function, not outer variables. It is always easier to understand a function which gets parameters, works with them, and returns a result than a function which gets no parameters but modifies outer variables as a side effect. How it can works with them and then a result returns a result, then it is always easier to understand a function which gets parameter, works with them, and returns a result than a function which gets no parameters but modifies outer variables as a side effect. Can you more than just a rain, more than just a papa? तेरे बाप को सिखाना मां, तेरे बाप को मत सिखाना, बोला ना, तेरे बाप को सिखाना, बोला ना मैंने, तेरे बाप को मत सिखाना, बोला ना मैंने, बोले देखो बोले कभी ना, तेरे भोला बनाऊंगा. What a ass I am. More than just a dream. Poker. Are you a poker? You can become a poker. Hello, Bob. Okay. Like username. Can we username it? Hello, Bob. Okay, we can change the global variables like that. Yeah, done. Let's go. That's a global variable. We can change it here. Okay. But ये वो क्या उधर ऊपर क्या बकचोदी कर रहा था मेरे को? वो इधर बकचोदी कर रहा था ना, इधर थोड़ी सी कि नहीं कर सकते भाई, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. और वह जो कंफ्यूज कर दिया. आता है जो भूल गया मैं तो. आता है जो ही भूल जाऊंगा, मतलब भूल जाऊंगा रे, भूल जाऊंगा, ऐसा मत करो, भूल जाऊंगा मैं तो। ओए भूल गया, ओ भूल गया रे। A function with empty or returns, it can return my ass. More than just a dream. Many returns. It's on me about the it's on my ass. I said you. I said you can say me. Okay, sorry. Oh, what the fuck is that? Not than just a dream. More than just a dream. More. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. It gets only copy like that. You mother ducker. Default values. That ain't cool, boy. What's up, boy? Come on. Two shades ducker. Show from text alert parameters. If it's a parameter, if it's a parameter, if it's a parameter, if it's a parameter, okay. We get the use. Okay, I have to put on. Like if it's a, if the thing is gone through as a parameter, that's a Bob. We are giving a copy of it. John. Okay, John. We're not using John anywhere though. Undefined. How is that undefined? Shut the fuck up. Okay, John. We are not doing John though. Can we give John Doe? Can we give some John Doe to this? This is berry. Bob, it becomes Bob. Bob is your Bob. Bob is your Baba. If a function, like if it, like, yeah, if a variable, a global variable is provided as an argument to a function call, then there's like we're not, say like we are providing a copy of that variable into that function, that like you can do whatever you want with that variable, modify it or add it, whatever it's not gonna change the actual variable, global variable that like by doing that, okay, then we get only one yeah, the function gets a copy of it. Okay. Username stays John only. Yes, that's it. I'm gonna run Bob. Bob is John, okay? Shut up. Oh. Okay. Summary. Wait, what is that? How I know? That is fine. The second variant is easier to understand, isn't it? So functions can be created if we don't intend to use them. They structure the code and make it readable. Values passed to a function as parameters are copied. Like, okay, that's what I was saying, okay? Values passed to a function as parameters. Values passed to a function as parameters are copied to its local variables. A function may access outer variables, but it works only from inside out. The code outside of the function doesn't use local variables. A function can return a value. If it doesn't, then it returns undefined. To make the code clean and easy to understand, it is recommended to use mainly local variables and parameters in the function, not outer variables. Not after Billy Blues. If it is always easier to understand a function which gets parameters. Don't need to give the copy. It is always easier to understand. It is always easier to understand a function which gets parameters, works with them, and returns a result than a function which gets like no parameters but modifies outer variables as a side effect. That's what exactly, na? Yeah. This one gets it. It gets the variable. Okay. Yeah. As a copy, works with it. Does whatever is there. Yeah. That is cool. But that is not cool, boy. Bob becomes Bob. Bro. What are you? It is always easier to understand a function which gets parameters, works with them, and returns a result than a function which gets no parameters but modifies outer variables such as side effect. Side effect. Function naming. A name should clearly describe what the function does. When we see a function call in the code, a good name instantly gives us an understanding what it does and returns. A function is an action. So function names are usually verbal. There exist many well-functioned prefixes like trace, show, get, check, and so on. Use them to hint what a function like, what a function does. Yeah, I should do that next time. Functions are the main building blocks of scripts, and now we have covered the basics. We can start using them, but then only in the return. We are going to return to them many times, going more deeply. Oh my god, I don't want to do this. Fuck it. One, two, three. I love arrow functions. They are cool. They are cool. They are cool. Cool like cooler. Are you cool? Cool. Objects. Objects are like objects, okay? I'm hungry. I wanna eat something. Can I eat ass? What's wrong with you? I don't wanna eat ass, bro. Oh, just kidding. I don't wanna eat ass. I don't eat ass, okay? Ew. Eating ass. Such a ew thing. More than just a dream. You can get my Deberoppa. 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 Developer. Babu developer. 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 Depen. Tepen उम्मीदा तेरुड़ा और ये चुप करना इसको Tepeya cancelledにしましたよねおなたどなたですおなたですかそなたですかMore than just a dream आते साकी ओलियो ओले ओ टेस्ट taste. I can taste you. You can taste me. We can taste each other. Okay, हो जाना भाई क्या ही है. The test is running. I got it. I got my meal. That means it's work. My meal. Mailbox. Mailbox. Shut up, boy. I'm tired of it. Yeah. More than just the green. I'm like a green. It's pretty, man. It feels good to be alive. Not good to be down. Not good to be there. Not good to be alive. You can only feel there if you are alive. If you are there, you don't feel nothing. You feel nothing. Death, people feel nothing. Death is death. Death is just death. You feel death? You can feel death, but I don't feel death. I don't want to feel death. You can feel my ass. Yeah, I had a goal of 30,000. How do you know? No. Not even near, man. 30,000. Wow, that was so, bro. That was so. All the rest of them. You know? I don't know. No. What's it? It's it. 多分先生の言っていることも正しいかどうかわからない。先生、柔らかく、俺を見たい。そうよ。だから、それもあなたが考えないと。だけれど、ねえ、これだけを知る。先生はあなたに幸せになってほしいし、みんなと仲良くなってほしいって、思ってる。わかるけわかるけくそやらわかるけわかってんだろわかんねえ。ほれまだ just a dream I have recently started watching it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now the shadow I'm the shadow God. You can have a company. You can come to and I want to bring down. I'm the shadow God. Trust what's just about it. Please don't break down. Don't get strong. But I'm trying to get all words. You can have my arms. Okay. You can try your hands on my You are the lonely you are the lonely What's up? It's more than just a dream. You can take my heart. You can take my heart. You can take it all. なんでこれが、なんでこれ、なんだ俺、なんだ俺。誰が作ったんだろ 誰が作ったんだよ、おい、これ、貴様。貴様、誰がこんな、こんな、こんな、こんな、こんな、こんな、か、しやがって。More than just a dream. I can work on it is all. Gaito, gaito, more than six was. You can take now. You can take it all. You can have it all. You can enjoy it all. You can do it all. You can speak it all. You can start it all. It's you. It's yours. I'm there just for you. Nanda Omiro. Eh? Eh? Jump. So can eat ili gucci nandalo la 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 lo la 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 alla alla alle 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 ara ara Japanese programming is for the only programming is for the ala 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 bita bita ala 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 plus じゃねえのかよ。なんだお前。まんまは。More than just a dream. Is it all? You can have it all. You can say, I can say, I can say, I can say, I'll rise to trouble you. I can, Maybe it's a good choice for system programming because process used in multiple things with the Bible. Yo, must be learned very well. Last thing I will go down and last month. Hey, senorita. Senorita. What's up, Sarita? Hey, Sarita. Hey, Sarita. What's up, Sarita? Hey, what's up, Sarita? More than just a dream. You can have it all. There is only one. There is only one. You can take my all. I can take your all. We can take greedy out of the bottom. Crush cows out of them. Take trout of mankind. That of the water. Is this stuff for you? I can bank watchers, data structures for you, but well, let's read those. We're gonna read that. Okay. Kinda looks good. Automatic goes forward. 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 Can't collect money from it. Automatic goes forward. Oh my lord, that's so funny. That's so funny, this name. That's so funny, this name. Hello, okay. Yatta zo! まあ、何しやがって。今しやがったな。おめえお前かお前かここで今しやがってね。おめえお前がなんでここに何しに来たお前、何しに来た Whether it's a culture depends on what you want to achieve. Programming and your career goals. As a programming perspective. ブックマックは、ブックマックは、今までブックマックは、はぁ、だいぶ下がると yes, it can be just yes or no. Yes. More than just a dream. Okay, that looks fine. Whether the yes is the right time depends on what you want to assume to ground in the yes is from another perspective of your focus into the massive consider most of the speech to say to this too. Game development. Real time data profile frame board navigation app like the application. For example, the efficiency. Every time. Sorry. You can have it. What is so good? Shall fly from above. What is my God? What is this? ちょっと、今まであるんですけど、今までありますか？プログラミングのこれです。By the way, Yeah, you can, you can. Since elements are arranged in particular order, they are easy to implement. However, complexity of the features in linear data structures, the elements are arranged in a sequence, one after the another. Since elements are arranged in a particular order, they are easy to implement. However, when the complexity of the program increases, the linear data structure will not be enough. Bias, tries, degrees of operational complexities. Popular linear data structures are era data structures. Era. Wow. Era. Array data structures. In an array, elements in memory are arranged in continuous memory. All the elements of an array are of the same type. Sorry. Ah. In an array, elements in a memory are arranged in continuous memory. All the elements of an array are of the same type, and the type of the elements that can be stored in the form of arrays determined by the program. Type of elements that can be stored in the form of arrays is determined. An array with each element represented by an index. Stack data. In stack data structure, elements are stored in the LIFO. Last in, first out. Last wala in, first wala L. Last wala L, the first wala L. Okay, that is the last element stored in the. That is the last element stored in a stack will be removed first. Last in, first out. What the fuck? That is the last element stored in a stack will be removed first. But that's last in. The last in, the first out. That's not first. The last will come first. What? It was just like a pipe. A pile of plates where the last plate kept on the pile will be removed first. Stack data structures. Yeah, come on. Come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. Come on, yeah, baby. Baby. You can take it all. Okay, we don't have it in Japanese. Japanese. Yeah, it's fine. I can do that too. I have no one and not the most important by our sale. Try it yourself. Don't just read about stack. What should happen live? See how each kind of data is works step by step. Step by step, case by case, case by case. I'm gonna case you. Your fam, you wanna get boxed? You wanna get boxed? You wanna get boxed, fam? Two data structures. Plates. Okay, stacks are plate. Like stack is a stack of what? Unlike stack, the queue data structures works in the first in, first out. First को in को first को out काट देना है. Principle where the first element stored, where the first element stored in the queue will be removed first. Last in, first out. Last in, last out. Should be that. Can be performed only, like can be, the operations can be performed only from one end. So isn't that last in, last out? Last in, first out. That's super. First in, first out. Unlike stack, the queue data structure works in the first in, first out. Principle where the first element stored in the queue will be removed first. It works just like a queue of people in the ticket counter, where the first person on the queue will get the ticket first to them, more like that. Okay, linked layers. In linked layers data structure, data elements are connected through a series of nodes, and each node contains the data item and address to the next node. Data item and the address to the next node. That's the head. Okay, head node, which contains the data, which is 1, and the address to the next node. Next, boom, next. Okay, that is going to contain the data and okay, and then level last. In linked list data structure, data elements are connected through a series of nodes. Series of nodes, series of apps, and each node contains the data items and address to the next node. Non-linear data structures. Again, they are in a sequential order. Linear data structure, the elements are arranged in a sequence, or one after another. One after the other. Since elements are arranged in a particular order, they are easy to implement. However, when the complexity of the program increases, the linear data structures might not be the best choice because of operational complexities. Unlike non-linear data structures, elements in non-linear data structures are not in any sequence. Unlike linear data structures, elements in non-linear data structures are instead they are arranged in a hierarchical manner where one element would be connected to one or more. Non-linear data structures are further divided into graph and tree-based data structures. In non-linear data structures are further divided into graph and tree-based data structures. In graph data structures, each node is called vertex. Each node is called a vertex, and each vertex is connected to other vertices, vertices through edges, vertex, four verticals, four vertices. vertex. What's the Hindi? Tirbuch. शीश. अरे वर्टिकल शीश होता है क्या? What's a vertex then? कोण? शिखर. चरम बिंदु. अरे क्या? इतना तो नहीं आता. Oh my! वाह. शीर्ष या कोण बिंदु और शिखर या चरम बिंदु. कोण बिंदु है Shira Punam. In a data in graph data structure, each node is called vertex, and each node is called vertex. That's a vertex. That's a vertex. That's a vertex. That's a vertex. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 verticals. Verticals. Vertices is connected to other vertices through edges. To learn about popular graph data structures, spanning tree and minimum spanning tree, strongly connected components, adjacent metrics, adjacency list. Whatever. Tree. What's a tree? Similar to a graph, a tree is also a collection of vertices and edges. Vertices and edges. However, in tree data structure, there can only be one edge between two vertices. There can only be one edge between two vertices. And a binary tree. Binary tree ऐसे जाता है. Non-linear data structure नाम से सुने. बाइनरी ट्री में हमें इधर का इधर जाने का, या तो इधर जाने का इधर जाएंगे, तो फिर इधर से इधर जाने का, किधर जाने का वो चूज करने का तेरे को. बी और ट्री बाइनरी सर्च ट्री, बी ट्री, बी प्लस ट्री, सी ट्री. Linear versus non-linear data structures. Now that we know about linear and non-linear data structures, let's see the major differences between them. Linear data structures, non-linear data structures. The data items are arranged in sequential order and one after another. The data items are arranged in non-sequential order, hierarchical manner. All the items are present on the single layer. All the items are present on the single layer. The data items are present at different layers. All the items are present on the single layer. All the items are present at different layers. Yeah, of course. It can be traversed on a single one. That is, if we start from the first element, we can traverse all the elements sequentially in a single pass. It requires multiple runs. That is, if we start from the first element, it might not be possible to traverse all the elements in a single pass. Other memory utilization is not sufficient. Different structures utilize memory in different efficient ways, depending on the need. Yeah, the memory utilization is not sufficient. Different structures utilize memory in different efficient ways. The memory utilization is not sufficient. Different structures utilize memory in different efficient ways depending on the need. The time complexity increases with the data size. Yeah, the time complexity increases with the data size. Time complexity remains the same. Example arrays, a stack, a queue, lots of tree, graph, map. I don't want a map though below. Yeah, so not learning. Right, it's either what knowledge about data structures help you understand the working of each data structure. Wow. Knowledge about data structures help you understand the working of each data structure. And based on that, you can select the right data structure for your project. This helps you write. This helps you write memory and time efficient. Yeah. Why learn GST? I don't want to learn it. I will learn it. I don't want to learn it. I will learn it. Okay, I'm just kidding. I don't want to. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying. I'm saying is to be good. Are you good? You can be good and Pareva Labs. ये परेवा लैब्स वाले हैं ना ये परेवा लैब वाले हैं ना लैब्स Darinando, Darinando, man. More than just a dream. Kotlin examples. Kotlin. We are gonna Kotlin it. Kotlin it. Ta-na-na-na-na-na. Fibonacci. Fibonacci. You can Fibonacci. I can Fibonacci your ass. Fibonacci your ass. We're going to calculate a standard deviation. Oh, youいいじゃないですか。これ。なんかさ、いいじゃないですか。いいじゃないですか。いいんじゃないですか。いいんじゃねえのか。いいんじゃねえのか。いいんじゃねえのか。Yo, print hello world. You can print hello world with my no, no. You, you. Using document.white. Where content on my HTML document. Get it on! La 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 la. I got to close to the back of the mother. I got to close to the back of the mother. I got to close to the back of the mother. मस्त बनाया भाई वैसे तो आते हैं बहुत शौक तो मुझे तो लेकिन यहाँ पे किसी को अरे यार भाई भयंकर वैसे बनाते हो क्या सोच रहा है क्या सोच रहा है तू this article is going to see how this article and other factors to use their career programming specifics by The audio might be something problem. Find the period of initialize background. What are the value? We influence one to one. Yeah. Find the factorial of an initialized background. For every value, we in range 1 to n. Multiply the factorial. In fact, contains the fact contains the factorial of n. कहते हैं all about instead. Here, the whole current that. Yes, I know all about data speaking. I used to create data structures and algorithms. Data structures are used to hold data, while algorithms are used to solve problems using focus on algorithms used to simple things to standard problems in algorithms. Those simple things. Those simple मेरे को है ना What is real for real one? Cái chính của nó Hãy subscribe cho kênh Ghiền Mì Gõ để không bỏ lỡ những video hấp dẫn